You're muted, Herb.
Yeah, you're always muted during the intro, Rodg. So your first two comments on this a monumental show were, did it start? And you're muted, Herb. That will be memorialized forever, Rodg. So, very special show tonight, Rodg. I think this is only the second time we've had two guests on. So to break down the Big Ten and the Big 12, and it looks like Rodg has actually muted himself, so I'm just going to keep going here. It's also not often that we get two guys or two people, period, that have their own shows, who are more successful, who are better looking, more knowledgeable. I mean, we are truly, you see my name today, in the presence of greatness. I mean, the fact that they agreed, like I asked them both to be on the show. I expected them both to say no and told me to kick rocks. They both said yes, which I was surprised about. I've also, full disclosure, had to beg them all, every day to please still do on the show, because they usually like, oh, I've got stuff to do. I'm doing an autograph signing. I'm blah, blah, blah. So it's been a lot going on, but I have begged them, pleaded, and bribed them to still do the show. So
we're honored. We're honored to have them on. I'm still shaking that they're here.
I mean, it's amazing, right?
I was at work all day. I was like, man, what am I gonna do? What kind of questions am I gonna ask? I'm nervous. So
yes, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So without further ado, well, first up, he was named Mr. Oklahoma 3 years in a row. He was also somehow named Mr. Colorado 3 years in a row too. I don't know how
do you do that?
Yeah, turned down the head coaching job for the Oklahoma Sooners that actually went to Brent Venables. And he once rescued Ricky Williams from a burning building. Now there's a rumor that he tried to throw him back in there, but we're not gonna go into that. So Mike, who is in the phone, by the way, is Mike Air Raid. So that is officially your last name. Mike, how are we doing tonight, sir?
What's up, guys? Happy Rodg. To tell you about that story, it took me to win Mr. Oklahoma. It took me about a lot of money to push under the table for me to win. But for Ricky Williams,
are you supposed to be saying that?
Yeah, I don't think that's stuff you're supposed to admit.
He was guy's lucky day. And the reason why I turned down Oklahoma's head coaching job, just Brent has better looks than I do, so I'll let him handle that one. But no,
we don't believe that.
You look better than Brent, man.
Way better. Yeah. He's a 5 on his best day, and you're a 10 on your worst day.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
10,
I'm glad to be on. I appreciate it as always. Nothing stays the same. I'm always honored and privileged to come on. So I'm ready to rock.
Appreciate it.
And obviously, Mike's going to be breaking down the Big 12 for us. So our Big 10 representative.
Hold on. Should we give our Big 10 representative?
Yes.
Should we give him some theme music?
Yeah, go ahead and give me some. Well, I've got an intro for him though too. So
okay, go.
Let me get the intro, and then you can give him the theme music. Okay. First time on our show, the movie They Call Me Mr. Tibbs was actually, they stole their name from him. He's the one that taught Aaron Judge how to swing a bat.
Oh wow.
Actually calls him every Friday to get a game plan for the weekend. Yes. And little known fact, I found this out about 5 minutes ago. He's the one that convinced Saquon Barkley to re-sign to start out the season. So
I knew it.
I had it confirmed, so I had to say that. Breaking down Michigan for us in the Big Ten, Mr. U of They Call Me Mr. U fame. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, family. Good to have you on. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Meet Mike for the first time. This is going to be fun, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You got.
Thank you for joining us.
One guy with you, Armin. That's one of our good friends, Go Blue.
Yeah, shout out to Hoda. Yep.
Shout out to Hoda. And then, of course, it would be nothing without a Georgia fan.
Oh, yes.
The Big Ten can kick rocks.
Wow. Shout out to Randy. Yeah.
Yeah, good old Randy.
Good old buddy Randy.
Huh?
Should I go now, or is this?
Well, we were actually going to let you, as the newest comer to the show, do you want to go with Big Ten first, or do you want to defer to the Big 12? It's up to you.
We can go ahead and go Big Ten.
Go ahead, Big Ten. Okay.
All right, Big Ten.
All right. So the first, and then how we have two haters already against, what do you say, go Bucks?
Where are these folks coming from?
I mean, the Big Ten brings out a lot of emotions, good and bad.
And this is being broadcasted worldwide, so yeah.
Hey, so you got to expect all that. Thank you for the comments already. So, given what's happened the past couple years, and making the playoffs and getting past Ohio State, okay, is this year championship and bust for Michigan, and even more specifically for Harbaugh?
Okay, well, in my humble opinion, I've only been following Michigan since '84.
Right.
Still a long time.
I watched enough. For me, this is a natty or bust. Yeah.
Really?
For a few reasons, but because I'm tired of it. The main reason.
That's always a good one.
Yeah. As far as Harbaugh, I'll come back to that one. But as far as the team, yes. I think it's going to be about 20. Most of them are starters. 20 guys declaring for the draft. That's going to gut the whole roster.
Right.
I don't care who they bring in, transfer. I'm not really including them, but as far as guys that are on the team that are established, guys like McCarthy, Edwards, Corum, Cornelius Johnson, Roman Wilson, Chris Jenkins, our D-line senior, these guys are probably going to be gone in the draft. So I don't see how you retool with that many guys. Rob Moore's going to be gone probably. Stanley still going to be gone too. So for us, this is a natty or a bust. I mean, we talk about that every single year, but for me, this is it right here. Mm-hmm. I said I would. So I thought about not saying anything about it, but I'm gonna say it right now. I ain't beating the table for Michigan anymore after this year. If they don't win it,
What?
You can't just leave them like that after 1 year.
Hold on. Let me clarify. I'm not leaving them.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm Michigan fan. I ain't beating the table. Talking about we're gonna do this and that. My mouth is closed. I will root. I will watch. No more beating the table. So this year, if we get a natty, that's it for me. I ain't saying nothing else.
Well, Rodg, you had a question, right?
Harbaugh's record with like 2-7 right now. Right. I mean, how many more chances do you want the apple? I mean, come on now. I'm just like at the point where it's like, if you have him along for nostalgia purposes, that's why he's here. Okay, that's fine. But he beat Ohio State, took care of that twice in outstanding fashion, by the way. Hey, Lady Alpha. But after that, it's like, okay, so now what? The natty's all that's left. We did everything else. Ohio State fans and Michigan State fans talking about beating them. I don't care about beating y'all. Really, we haven't done it 20 years in a row, but I don't care about that. I want to get the natty. That's the main goal, right?
Right.
Harbaugh was brought here for that, right? Or was he brought here to beat Ohio State? What was the point? The whole point was to bring him here to win a national championship. If that don't happen this year, I don't know when it's going to happen. I mean, losing all the kind of talent like this, it's hard to replace these guys. These guys are really talented, and a big reason why we are where we are and rank where we are is because of these guys going into the draft. I tell a whole bunch of guys this. I mean, the whole O-line is going into the draft. There's about 7 or 8 O-line guys all getting drafted.
With that being said, and based on you basically saying that it might be a rebuilding phase after this season if they don't win a championship. How much longer? I'm just correct me if I'm wrong, but how much longer do you think Harbaugh will be there after this year?
Which, by the way, Ricky also he says for Harbaugh this is definitely a make or break, and so and I don't know if you buy into this, but Randy also chimes in. The Michigan fans say so, championship or bust. So there's a lot of people also already are with you on that one.
I was gonna say I got a question, but once you answer this, Mr. Yu, I got a question for you as well.
You started us fired up, buddy.
Because
all right
about that. But that's where he is right now. I don't see him trying to rebuild this team or even retool it. I don't see it because you had all that talent and you went 2-6 when it mattered. TCU was not a better team than us. I don't care what anybody says. Put it in the comments. It don't matter. You can come find me on Twitter. TCU was not better than us, and we got beat.
Yeah, y'all gave that game away. I think we can all agree on that.
And the Georgia game before that one, the year before that, I'm not sure what even happened competitive than 34-11. So I don't know what happened there. But we get in the playoffs, it's like lights out. For me, it's the last straw for him. Nostalgia, we had enough of that. So if he don't win it this year and go all the way, it's time for a new face. It's time for a new coach.
He said if they don't win, Michigan about to be Michigan, yes.
I don't know who said that, but cute play on words. I like it.
Well,
Mike,
and Lady
Mike, what
Alpha
was
did
your
have
comment?
one more shot. She did have one more shot for you after losing 11 straight. Y'all won the last two, so you know she had to get her little shot in.
That's great. Is there like a prize for that?
Yeah.
Mr.
What you got, Mike? You said you had a question.
The question. So, your thoughts, of course. You say it's this year's Big 12. I mean, Big 12. Natty or bust, correct?
I don't see any other solution. Yeah.
So, here's where I'm going with this. So, Natty or bust this year. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, you guys get to the national championship. Obviously, that's going to help, and I still think Georgia will move on and win. But you guys get there. As a Michigan fan, knowing what's coming ahead, you got Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. Part one of this question is, will that still? I know the national championship is obviously everybody's goal, and I totally get. Trust me, OU, he's been to the playoffs 3 or 4 times. We haven't yet to win a game. But so I get the disappointment. What does that meet with your expectations? One, also with recruiting, and then how do you think Michigan will fare with the new, whatever you want to call them, big, whatever, 16, 18, 20, whatever they want to be nowadays? Your thoughts on that, but whatever it is. But what's your expectation? I mean, let's just say they lose in the national championship. What does that meet your expectation? I mean, obviously winning it obviously is your goal, but still.
Say it again. I blanked out on that part.
So your expectations, I mean, obviously, let's just say you guys get there as Michigan fan base. Would you still put a lot of pressure on Jim, even though you guys did not win a national championship?
If we get there and we don't win, I said what I said. He has to go.
What if it's a close one, not like a TCU type of thing, not like a TCU what they did to Georgia?
Nothing will ever be like a TCU.
If it's like 65-7, then the whole
exactly.
You're gonna.
If it's 65-7, he's getting fired at halftime. Like,
you gotta kill the program for a couple years.
Yeah.
The TCU game didn't start off being close, but it ended with by 6 points. That's close enough, and it was still not good enough. I mean, look at the result. I mean, so no, if it's not a win, I don't care if it's a win by half a point. If it's not a win, it's an L, and he just has to. It's trying to move on and try something different. I mean, the whole definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And if we don't change something at some point, especially if we're not. I mean, right now, the talent that we have right now, I'm super confident. And Herb and Rodg didn't ask this part yet. I'm kind of prepared to talk about it though. But just about their record and what I think is going to happen with their team and everything. But I think we can go undefeated. I really believe that. I believe we have enough talent to go to a national championship, but it's always something that I can't put my finger on what it is. It's always something that happens in the in-game adjustments is one thing. I noticed in the playoffs when if something not going well, we don't seem to recover well in the middle of the season or in the early season. Within the season, we always recover well. We can go down 10 at the half, come back and blow everybody out. In the playoffs, going at the half down, we can't recover. Not sure why that is. So I feel like that's on coaching more than it is on players. And you can't keep blaming these secondary coaches. It has to come back to Harbaugh. You can't be untouchable all the time. So for me, I'm like, I don't know who we can get that would be on a different grade.
Which, by the way, that's what Big Mike.
That's
Big Mike is saying. So,
like, what is your next option?
Yeah.
Who's out there? I mean, who has the pedigree that's available that wins national championship? Who's on the market? It's gonna be hard to find somebody who's on the market that's been winning national championships. But at this point, we got to have something because we can't keep going to the playoffs and flaming out. It's not a good look. I mean, if it was your team, you would hate the coach and you burn him in effigy. So I mean, we have to do something different. You can't keep running the same coaching approach out there and expecting the same results. So I mean, for me, it is natty or bust, man. I think that if we go to national championship and we don't win it, it's game over. It's lights out.
So you do have a couple comments on that. Of course, it's hard to take. You have to take this with a grain of salt because it's an Ohio State fan. But she does think that Harbaugh should have been gone years ago. Gave you mics already. Let's go back. This was, I think, in response to your talk about recruiting.
Yeah,
so
it's a good point, Randy. Shout out to Randy for this. Thank you for pulling this up.
2024 looks bad right now. I mean, right this moment, 2024 looks bad as far as quote unquote 5-star recruits. I mean, we've been good at taking 4-star recruits and getting diamonds out of them. All the guys I named, they're all 4-star recruits, and they've been stellar. So I'm not caught up in the whole 4 versus 5-star, but it seems like we can't get anybody to come to Michigan.
Right.
For some strange reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know why people like MSU instead of us. Who does that?
Do you think NIL has something to do with that?
Who?
NIL.
I think we got more money to burn than they do. I think. Do we not?
I
don't see.
I have no idea.
As far as MSU goes, they have more money to burn than they do.
Yeah.
But
sometimes I just think with NIL, it's more about how you're organized, because it seems like all these programs have the money. It's how are you focused and how is your program. So I'll never say is it a money thing. So you do have you have a couple comments on there. JJ must be elite to win the national title. So far, he hasn't been that guy. Do you think he can be that guy?
I think he can, because everything that I saw that he did wrong, whether it been a timely fumble or miscommunication, I think you can fix that with coaching and time. You don't change coaches out and expect that to change. So I think that I feel pretty confident about him this year. He does the same thing again. You know how that goes, right? 3 strikes and you're out. But right. I think he can be quote unquote elite. We got elite guys running the ball, catching the ball.
And you mentioned that. So Ricky's got a question directly for you. Does Blake Corum win the Heisman?
Nope. Give it to Caleb, but it depends on what happens out there on the field, though. But Blake Corum, man, if he does what I think he's going to do, he's healthy, he's going to smash the whole Heisman vote. If he's healthy for the entire, he was already on pace for it. I think he was number 2 in the so-called voting before without injury. Right. So it comes down to him and Caleb. But if he's healthy and he plays the entire season, Caleb ain't got a chance.
Let me ask a question then, because it does just seem like we're up down the Michigan road. Is this conference really Michigan, Ohio State, and everybody else? Do you even see anything else that comes, anywhere close to it? Or is it really just we're going to watch those 2 teams for the whole year again?
You're talking about for the entire conference?
Yeah.
I like Wisconsin in the West, but I like Iowa a little bit too, not because they got Michigan guys on there at quarterback and tight end, but
Iowa? That has nothing to do with
it. I mean, I liked Cade, but I wasn't in love with him.
Right.
But Eric All, I was in love with him. I was sad to see him go. But no, I think they're coming on. The defense is one of the top defenses in the 10 anyway. So all their work had to be on offense. I think they're going to be okay. They averaged 17 points last year, so that's where the area of improvement needs to be with the OC and Ferentz. But I don't like any of those guys to make the playoffs. So I'll probably say Michigan, Ohio State,
or bust.
I like Penn State for reasons. Like they got the first round pick on the line for Shanu. I like him a lot. Kind of concerned about that big man. I don't know if their quarterback replacement that how's his name pronounced?
Alar.
Yeah, I don't know if he replaces Clifford and they stay where they were. I don't know if it's a fallback because of that. I'm not quite sure. Right. I know that at the wide receiver they got a fallback coming for sure, because I think what's his name? Parker. Was it Washington or one of the wide receivers? But he was really good. He got drafted. Him and Tinsley. It's gonna be hard to replace those guys. I don't know if they're gonna be coming in and taking control of anything. But I think it's gonna be probably down to Michigan and Ohio State again, more than likely.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Do you think you?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you think USC will ever be in the mix in the upcoming years?
Oh, and that's why, by the way, Mike was in on that. He thinks it's Ohio State and Michigan until USC gets there too as well.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah,
I think when they come in, I had them when they come in to be in the college football playoff. One of the 4 teams to get in. That's a year ahead of schedule. So
yeah.
Then after that, it's going to be either Alabama or ND. I don't know which one.
Nice. We love you already.
Yeah.
your last couple, I guess, Michigan shots. You two Patriots. Michigan's like the Cowboys, always find a way to lose. The Ohio State fan, Lady Alpha, she says the attitude, the arrogance going.
I think that's a bit much.
Yeah. And then here's somebody who's on your side or who just really hates LeBron. Ohio State and the bum side.
Oh, gosh.
I'll be honest. I don't know where Lady Alpha lives. I don't see the arrogance that people are talking about. We fighting for a championship like everybody else. I don't see the arrogance. MSU was arrogant. Have you seen their posts? What they talk about? That's arrogant. I don't see where it is, but to each his own. I'm good with it.
Recapping.
I'm not arrogant about this. Right. Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike. What you got?
Recapping the 22, not to bring back heartaches. What was your initial thoughts and what went wrong in Michigan in the semifinal against a TCU team? In my opinion, and I've said this on podcast mine and other people's as well, as a team that I thought should have been left out to begin with. I thought Bama should have been put in, and national championship showed proof to that. But what was your initial thoughts to a TCU team that, in my opinion, is probably the second or third best team in the Big 12 last year?
Well, I had nightmares about it for days after it happened, so I thought about it real hard. For me, it was as simple as that. It's just defense. They gave up 30 points.
Yep.
Basically, TCU was running that wheel, and they were throwing that wheel. I think they ran for 263 and passed for 225. They were doing whatever they wanted to do out there. No defensive measure taken against them whatsoever. So it was a defensive fault. I can't even blame Harbaugh totally for this one. It was a defensive fault. That's why that happened completely.
The comments have also all of a sudden turned on LeBron James for some reason. I don't understand what's going on. So,
we're not even talking about NBA or anything.
I don't know. It's just weird.
I said?
Huh? We have a Lebron hater in the house, so
did I?
Yeah, I don't know. So this is kind of a off the point. Corum will not win the Heisman. Keyshawn Jenkins is the best running back. But you previously say, like, you don't care about Heisman. It's really about winning the playoffs. So that's a good point. But I think Jenkins is a beast.
Yeah.
So
people that care about a Heisman are going to have a shot at the championship, probably.
Yeah.
And
then JJ, he hasn't had the wide receivers to help him be elite yet. So he thinks that's more the point that he made earlier on him. And then they did. Was it Bama should not have been in that field? Don't lose twice. I agree with that one, actually. So
I think, but with that comment, I think it means even if you, regardless of the wins or losses, like should have been like made it a more competitive game is the way I take it. Now deserved to win because they lost twice. We didn't deserve to win. So
I understand. YouTube Pedro says it, but I would not have voted as in. So this is finally a nice comment about Jordan from David. Brock Bowers wins the Heisman this year. I would actually be rooting for Brock Bowers. I hope he wins a Heisman and Georgia loses all their games. So, like, if we could somehow get that in the mix, I would be okay with it. But Brock Bowers is a beast and deserves more recognition.
By far the best tight end in the country.
Yeah, if he didn't play tight end, I think we would be tough. But I think he's clearly one of the best players in the country. So much love.
I wish somehow my Miami Dolphins could somehow draft Brock Bowers in the next draft. But
that's for another show.
I don't even know what selection. I don't even know what selection we have in the first round. But I think
real bad for that to happen. Probably.
That's another show. That's another show.
Yeah.
All right, Rasheed, we're gonna try and get you to what is your order of finish? You think for this year? You picking Michigan to win the Big Ten? Of course.
I am. I feel pretty good about it because the biggest roadblocks to them doing that, three straight Big Ten titles, are all first-year starters.
All right.
Michigan State, Penn State, and OSU. I like our chances. So I'm taking my prediction. Big Ten win, and I'm saying we're going undefeated.
Okay. Are you picking Ohio State and then Penn State in that order behind you guys?
Yeah, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and then, of course, we're going to Maryland and Rutgers.
Yeah. who do you think they're facing out of the West?
I'm between Wisconsin and Iowa. I'm going with Wisconsin. I feel like they got more starters coming back. That's why I'm like, that's a tough one, though. I pick Wisconsin, though, but I'm not sure. One reason why, because they don't play us, and they don't play Penn State, I think.
Right.
So.
And you do have, I get a lot of comments over here. LeBron will have more flops than Ohio State has wins.
Why are you reading that, Herb? You don't have to click on all of them.
I didn't mean to click on that one. I meant to click on, I'm not sold on All-Star Penn State. That's how I feel with Penn State until they actually do something. I think they'll be the third best team.
Yeah.
But your record every year can't be lose to Ohio State, lose to Michigan, and everybody thinks you're a top 10 team. Like,
no, they're gonna have to beat one of them, if not both, to
exactly
prove that they're in there.
Yeah. So
got that white uniform, bro.
Oh, and by the way, Raj, how can I click on this one, Raj? You get a little love. Let's go Dolphins in the middle of the college.
I see it.
College football season session. So
stay focused, guys. Stay focused.
Yeah. Let's
and just because it's an Alabama thing, Tyler Buckner for Heisman, no. 0% chance. I won't even. I don't care if he throws 5 touchdowns a game. I'm not voting for him. That's why I would be upset. Okay, so no, we'll still send him back to Notre Dame. So
I think we're gonna run the ball too much anyway for that.
Yeah. So Roger tried to censor me. Raj, somebody thinks you're trying to censor them on it. So, and there's your last comment before we leave the Big Ten session. Pick Michigan and win the Big Ten. They don't have a hard schedule, so. Which, by the way, Harbaugh, he's missing 3 games, and what are those 3 games? Like
East Carolina, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Those are tough games.
Yeah. So that was, and it's funny if it is stretched out to 4, he would get Rutgers also. So I was like, come on, man. He could, whether he's there or not, or he shows up in a road, like they're winning those. 4.
They're going to win those games. Yeah.
Football has schedules like this. This is not unique. Everybody has it. Everybody, even the SEC, they don't have schedules like this. It's not new.
All right. Appreciate you, Mr.
Appreciate it, man.
Off the hot seat for a minute. We're gonna try.
Yeah, don't go anywhere.
Yeah, he can't go anywhere. He still has the 5 questions of death to answer at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But you can actually breathe for a minute. Hopefully we won't.
I know about the 5 questions of death. I know about this one. I'm like, I'm nervous about that one too.
By the way, this is for both of y'all. Michigan winning the Big Ten and Oklahoma winning the Big 12. So, both of y'all would definitely be happy for that.
Let's do coffee, Johnson. Let's do coffee, man.
Great. And we got a serious question coming in here in a minute. But Mr. U, to be the coach while Harbaugh is gone, would you take that gig?
Does it come with heart medicine?
Yes,
I'll do it.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Serious question for the panel. Georgia's pencil in the Final Four. It's Michigan and Georgia. Does anyone think Michigan can out Georgia? We're going to start with Rodg on this question.
Sorry.
We'll end with Mr. U on it. Go ahead, Rodg.
No, I don't think they can out Georgia. I think it'll be a more competitive game than Georgia and TCU, but I think Georgia.
That's not fair to say because every game in the history of the world will be better than the team. Like, all right, I'm making one rule for the rest of the show. We are not allowed to invoke TCU versus Georgia. Okay, that game is a race.
Yeah, we've already seen that outcome.
As far as we're concerned, Georgia played a scrimmage game for the national championship.
Yep.
Okay.
Boom. My mistake. I'm sorry.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think with the style of football that Georgia plays, especially SEC football, just the hard nosed, in your face, physical type of football. I don't think they play that in although it would be a competitive game. I just give Georgia the edge, and I don't know if Michigan has enough big-time players on their team that can make those big-time plays. Now, obviously, they got the running backs. We got that. We know JJ's a good quarterback, but I just don't see them those big, 50 to 60-yard touchdown passes throughout the game to kind of run up the score against Georgia. I just don't see that happening.
So Rodg's answer is it just means more. Okay, go ahead, Mike. What you got?
I don't know.
No, I think it's simple. I think I'm going to piggyback on what
Mr. U is gonna. He's gonna.
I think Georgia gets in. I think out of 10 times, I think Michigan might beat them once, and probably out of the 9 times Georgia wins, it's probably not even competitive, but maybe once. I think Georgia would handle Michigan more oftentimes than not, and I just don't see Michigan outduel them.
And we'll end with you, Mr. U, on this segment.
Ow. Okay. We can just get anybody off the street, put it behind where Bennett was, and the same thing's gonna happen, huh? No changes, no fallback, huh? Okay, all right, that's cool.
Georgia's on a whole different level right now with everybody else.
Great. Okay. Well, I don't know if they can. To be honest with you, I hope that they can because this is the last shot right here. So I'm hoping that kind of attitude goes into that game because there's no coming back from this. If you don't do it now, you ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to stick with Michigan to pull out the miracle against Georgia, but I know about the physicality, scheme. I understand. But
that was the main point.
Guys wear maize and blue, they better step it up. This is it right here. So sometimes I've seen it in other sports. Sometimes we're up against the wall and you got no other choice. get them claws out, it's time to go. So I'm hoping that's what happens, but who knows, right? But
yeah, Trina said Georgia beats Michigan 80%. So this year it better be the 20% for Michigan, then, right?
This is it.
All right,
Mr.
U is officially off the hot seat for a minute.
Yes. Yes.
He fought off all comers. I give you credit, sir. You fought off all comers because that was a lot going on with that. So, Mike, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing excellent. How are you guys doing?
Oh, and you do have some well wishes, by the way, Mr. U, from Randy, Georgia Bulldog, which, by the way, had on our show. Great guest, great Georgia Bulldog fan. Definitely a much watch, much listen. And to your point, Mr. U, definitely will support you back if you're, tuning into his show, he's tuning into yours. So good guy to know for sure. So.
I will say this, Mr. U, you did a whole lot better than you guys did against Appalachian State back in 2005. So
my goodness, where did you pull that one out of? Okay, so to be fair, okay, Oklahoma is not allowed to trash talk Michigan right now. Based on how last year went. So, what are you saying? Is
True.
Obviously you have a first year head coach, going into the second year. Is it too early for hot seat? I mean, especially going into the SEC.
No, I don't think so. I'm going to stick to my guns on what I've talked about on the air raid with Lacey a few months or two ago now, and so on and so forth. No, I don't think it's I don't think it's too soon. I mean. You look at Oklahoma, they were 6-7 a year ago. 5 of the 7 losses were by 5 points or less. But what should have, could have, it's a whole different, ball game compared to wins and losses. At the end of the day, it's a loss. But so I mean, you look at Oklahoma team that really had people out there. Let's just be honest. They had a people out there. 30% of the roster last year left the program to go either to USC or somewhere else where they can play immediately. Arkansas, no. Hazelwood went there, but no, I don't think it's too early to answer your question. I think it's probably rightfully so more respective just simply because, yes, he's changing the culture. Yes, he's recruiting, even though I still wish he would recruit better offensively, but hopefully he'll get there. No, I don't think it's too soon. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, you look at a program that's 6-7, they should, I think realistically 11-1 is the high mark in my opinion. 10-2 should be the lowest. 9-3, I would still be a little concerned, but I think you have another season like last year, and you're headed into the big boys of next year, the SEC. Yeah. You're gonna have to be concerned. I think if you get 7 wins, it's better than 6, but you're not much improving. You get the same as last year. That's probably not good. I think I hate saying this because that's too much pressure, but I think anything less than 10 wins is a little concerning this year, simply because the schedule is the easiest on paper, besides for the exception of Texas. And don't think Texas fans. If you're watching out there, hold your thoughts on that one. I don't think they're back either. But
did he just censor the whole state of Texas?
Yes, I did. Hold that thought, Texas.
Okay, just making sure I caught that.
Yes, to answer your question, no, I think it's absolutely. I think it would be more. I think it would be truth. You'd be lying to yourself if you say Brent Venables would not be on the hot seat if he has another year like last year or semi-improvement from a year ago.
Raj, did you have one that you were about to?
Oh yeah, I was about to say what Mike just said. I think Brent Venables, if by them going into the SEC, if they have a record this year of 6-7 or even 5-8, whatever the case may be, they're only going to give him probably 1 year in the SEC because it's not going to be any easier next year with that whatever type of schedule that they have. So they'll give him 1 year in the SEC, and then that'll be it for him.
Right.
In my opinion,
if they don't go the way you want, we hear that Harbaugh might be available. So
I know.
might be no, you're not. You said he's going to send them your way. So. What do you think about the newcomers for this next year coming in there, Mike? You got Houston, BYU, Cincy, and UCF coming in there. Does anything really jump out with you with the new guys coming into the conference? The new guys, part 1, I guess that you guys are just adding people every year or so.
I will say this: the Big 12 should be thanking Oklahoma and Texas for allowing us to stay through the 23 season and letting the Big 12 stay afloat. That's nice of them to keep us, to help them out, but. No, I mean, the jokes aside, I mean, It's a nice crew. I wish it was Cincinnati with the Luke Fickell and the crew that they had last year. That would be pretty cool. It's still a great market. I think Houston's a great market. BYU is interesting, simply because you get the whole Mormon and they can't play on Sunday thing, so that's interesting scheduling wise. And of course, UCF is cool. I mean, 2017 national champs is kind of ridiculous, but whatever. But no, it's a cool thing. I don't think that any of them cause threat. I don't think we play Houston this year, but BYU, UCF, and Cincinnati, we do both BYU and Cincinnati on the road. The only concern on that one, I think BYU, when it's cold, the altitude in November is going to be a fun one to watch. However, I will say this. Do not be surprised if I think it's September 23rd. Shout out to my boy, D'Artagnan Tinsley. I'm going to have him reach out. I'm going to see if he can't get you guys on the pod. He's a phenomenal dude. Genuine dude for the Bearcats. But
my man just cut a commercial right in the middle of it.
Nominal D'Artagnan, if you're watching and listening later on.
D'Artagnan, like, how do you not want to be on that guy's show? I mean,
but
I expect him to breast out a sword at any moment.
No, hopefully I can make it up to Cincinnati. We'll see if that happens or not. But Cincinnati, first Big 12 game of the year, they might be hyped up. I think if I had a circle, probably BYU, but it's cool. 4 new teams. We get to play 3 of the 4, so it's cool. I'm glad. I'm happy for the Big 12. I mean, it's a great conference, but no, it's gonna be interesting. Of course, the new teams coming in. That's cool. But
and you do have, you do have a couple Oklahoma. Randy, of course, Johnny on the spot.
Yes,
or is it Randy on the spot? I don't know about that. And then he also says this though about the Venables thing. If his days are numbers, a Brian Hartline will be an option. So, or does the heir apparent wants Ryan Day opts for the NFL because he will soon?
Interesting.
And then he did mention, I think this is Shakeback, although he posted under a couple of ours too as well. Defense issue was huge. They were dead last against the pass and 9th against the run last year. So,
yeah, I mean, Oklahoma was bad, and I mean bad. I think overall they ranked, I think how many teams are there? 130, 132 now. I think they were 123 overall, 124 last year in total defense. Yeah, you can't have that again, especially if coming from a head coach that's known for defense, suffocating defense, if you were to put it in layman's terms. But I think Oklahoma's better. I would be disappointing. I'll probably be, whatever I have left in this house, I'll probably be, chunking it or something. No, I would be like, hey, Herbert, Rod, we got some issues. No, I ain't.
Ron said, don't do that.
But no, I think we're a whole lot better than we were a year ago. I would be shocked if we're not.
Mr. U, are you surprised that somebody could be on the hot seat after 1 year, or is that just business as usual?
Sound like it's just business as usual, but sometimes it's a shocker.
Yep.
Those numbers.
I always say give somebody at least 3 years, which is why I made the comment about Venables. Like his 3rd year will be next year in the SEC. So
yeah. I'm always hearing his name. Like, wow, who did he offend? But, they kind of project that they're going to end up being 4th in the conference. I don't know if he can turn that around, but
yeah. And by the way, Mike does say that Texas wins the Big 12 this year, not so Venables. Now, Mike, you mentioned what you thought Texas in the back. So if you're not thinking Oklahoma, who's winning the division this year, or who's winning the Big 12?
And we had this interesting conversation with Lacey. Of course, Texas and Oklahoma. That was a fun show, and hopefully do it again another time. But I don't think Texas.
Man, be cutting promos like it's wrestling.
I know. Coming down the ring. No, I don't. Yeah. I don't think.
Oh, man,
coming to the ring, TCU.
Their opponent is Georgia, and then they slowly walk out the door.
Their opponents are Georgia. You do not have to watch this game.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate your participation trophy. No, I don't think Texas wins it. Oklahoma's schedule sets them. I mean, Texas and Oklahoma's their schedule sets perfect for them to meet again in Arlington. I mean, what better way to have the two well-known Big 12 teams, probably powerhouses in the early 2000s and somewhat early 2010s. If you're Texas, you're not a powerhouse during those times. But you look at Texas. I mean, let's be honest. They keep saying back, and they're always back. They're always back. And just like Michigan, I think Texas, if it's not now, then win. I mean, you look at Texas. Going to the SEC next year. You bring back Worthy. You got Quinn Ewers. You got Sanders. The entire starting offensive line is back, which is pretty impressive. You got Jalen Ford, the linebacker from Texas, who was the Big 12's preseason defensive player of the year. He led the defense and last year and so on and so forth. But what Sark has not, and hear me out and I don't disrespect the program by any means, but they haven't won more than 9 games in almost, I think, a decade. I can't remember the last time. It's been forever. So just like Oklahoma, they got a shot to win 10 games. That's good. Congrats to Texas. That's cool. You can win 10 games. I think it's still for Texas. They have a chance to go to the Big 12 championship as much as Oklahoma does. I think those two are probably the most easiest shots just because of scheduling. But to answer your question, keep an eye on Kansas State. Really keep an eye on Kansas State. I know they lost it,
I'm going to keep an eye on them, but it's not going to be like a close eye.
I want to keep an eye on them like it was that TCU game against Georgia. I think by the end of the first quarter, I think you can probably shut your eyes and go to bed and call it a night. But no, I think Kansas State, defending Big 12 champions, I think they're a team that can easily repeat. You got your starting quarterback back in Will Howard, a defensive line that's phenomenal with BB and with BB back on the line. Deuce Vaughn is gone, which is a bummer, that little kid. But you got, wonderful transfers coming in. Of course, you got Iowa transfer and Johnson coming back at the receiving spot. So, I mean, you got a defense that was 4th in yards last year in the Big 12.
I just remember their bowl game. I'm sorry, but I just like everything we're throwing out, and all I just remember is the bowl.
Is that beat down? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Big 12 last year. The Big 12 last.
Well, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to say pretty much the Big 12. Any legit competitive team that they were playing, they got manhandled. Unless you're like OSU, I think OSU lost to Washington or some really, really non-important team. So,
he said not important. But how does that hurt the perception of the Big 12 with the way TCU and Kansas State both ended the year?
That they can match up with the big boys. I mean, you look at it. I mean, it shows again. Yeah, TCU is the first Big 12 team to win a college football playoff, and how long it's its existence. I'm going on 10 years. And of course, the rest was Oklahoma that couldn't win it. But no, I think the perception is, can they match with the big boys? I mean, it goes back to even Oklahoma, Texas. So they win the Big 12. Congrats. I mean, the Big 12 this year is pretty weak. I don't really see one team out there that's going to just flat out take over and take the run like we've seen in the past. But with Lincoln Riley here, and even when Mac Brown was Texas and Bob Stoops with Oklahoma, and you go in the early years of the 90s and A&M and Nebraska. But the perception of Big 12 is, can they beat the big boys? I mean, that's really the question that still hasn't been answered, because when they get lined up, they get slaughtered. You get knocked out, punched out, and tapped out, and so hopefully somebody with the big boys can play this year, and we'll see. But Chris Kellum at Kansas State done a phenomenal job, which he done a phenomenal job at North Dakota State. So in my opinion, I think Kansas State wins the Big 12, but I would love to see Oklahoma, of course, from a non-biased standpoint, win it. But
a non-biased standpoint,
from a non-biased. But no, Kansas State takes care. But they got to play with the big boys, and hopefully, maybe Texas, maybe beating Alabama. That might be the game that gets the Big 12 over the hump down the road.
Okay.
Sorry,
something wrong with my mic.
Off the show.
What happened? What was that?
Oh my goodness. Let me get you a couple Big 12 comments in there. We already gave Mike's on the Big. So the Big 12 this year more entertaining top to bottom because they're evenly matched. I agree with that. Which, by the way, does not bode well for it bodes well for your Big 12 championship hopes, but it doesn't bode well for your playoff hopes when everybody kind of beats up on each other. I think that's what the Pac-12 does. And then talking about Texas, I guess in particular, team cannot trust until they win something. Texas, exactly. Yep. Mike also subscribes to the Deion Sanders rule of building teams. The 3-year cushion was before the transfer portal. Now there's no excuse. Monsieur, you have a thought on that with the transfer portal and how the way they've changed team building?
just my uneducated opinion here. I'm not really super thrilled with how it's going. It's kind of like everybody just going back and forth. It's like this is like what we got going on here. So I think it's kind of it feels just organized to me. It feels like we kind of just let everybody just kind of just do what they want to do. I mean, you can't build programs like that. I mean, for example, suppose that not saying that, but suppose K doesn't have a good year or a good 2 years in Iowa. You gonna go ahead and move again? I'm saying, I mean,
Probably.
It's like that's nice if you could do that. But people in the NBA trying to do the same kind of stuff right now. It's like, okay, that's not.
All right,
that's
James
not really good.
Harden.
Here you go, trying to bounce around to a different team because you don't like him going.
I think it'll be interesting to see how Colorado does this year with that big things. I mean, you see what Deion did with Jackson State. He brought over all his, luggage. And
I don't have a good feeling about that situation.
No.
I think they're going to do better than they did last year because they only won one game last year. But I mean,
they're going to do it.
Yeah, set the bar. He's going to win 2 games and say he double the wins.
I think I have them winning like 5 or 6 games this year, but I mean, it's gonna take some time, and that's the best. So
which, by the way, to your guys' points, dismissive of team culture. Agree with that. So and then what was the rest of your comments? Back to you, Mike. For OU, any chance Josh Heupel would come home?
No, there's none.
That was fast.
No, there's none.
Thinking about this one for a minute, huh?
Yeah, there's no, and respectfully, no, there would be no chance. He's doing phenomenal in Knoxville and at Tennessee, but no, there would be no chance. He was mentioned, and the way that he went out was personal with him, and so there would be no way bringing him back in. I mean, I can't vouch for Joe C, but if he was going to do, he's going to do it last 2 years ago now. So negative on that one.
All right, let's get to the rest of yours. Mike, will Kansas be dangerous?
They're a team to keep an eye on. I would say definitely.
Everybody else is like, "Are we playing basketball?" But
I was like, no. Lacey made a good point. They bring back a lot of production from a year ago. Their quarterback is in the Heisman race. They're getting a lot of amped. They're getting a lot of renovations to the stadium, and I'm glad to see Kansas football hopefully turning them back around and like it did in what year was that? 05, I think 06, whatever the year that was that they went to the Orange Bowl.
I wasn't even alive back then.
So
I have no idea.
But no, I think Kansas. I think sneak if they can win a game or two that they don't expect. I could see something. They get Oklahoma at home. I think they get Texas at home. So, they've got Texas's number here as of late. So you never know.
Yep. And then Randy with another one for you. What he said on your show, it's hard to see how the Big 12 ever wins another national championship in football unless the landscape of the sport changes.
Well, and he's absolutely right. I agree with him when he was on the podcast. I mean, and even like now you add in Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. Again, you still don't have a team in the Big 12 that's good enough and that can make that run to the national championships. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it anytime soon. Yep.
And by the way, I missed where Trina said this, but I will always post a Roll Tide on the show, no matter what conference we're covering. So you always get a Roll Tide. Randy says Colorado might win 3 games, which would be a big improvement. If he triples the wins from last year, he's coach of the year. So.
I'm going to ask this for Randy, and hopefully he'll respond to this one. I'm going to ask you guys the same as well. If Colorado wins 2 games in 3 games, are they going to storm the field and tear down the goalposts?
Only if they're at home, but yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, if you're Colorado, you have to take every opportunity you get. So I don't care if you're playing the school for the blind and deaf. If you win that game, you are storming the field. Because
the real question is, how long do you guys think it'll be at Colorado?
Well, his health has been his big
sign come up. Go ahead, Mike.
His health has been the biggest issue. His health is kind of getting out of control. I would say it depends on that, but I'll be honest with you, Rodg. I don't think he's going to be there very long. 2 years, 3 years max, if that.
You think he's trying to jump to a bigger college program?
I think he's trying to jump somewhere. Okay. I don't know where that is at, but he's trying to jump somewhere bigger than where he's at now.
By shake back, this is what he's had to say about you. You had the worst defense last year, and they make any adjustments to fix that. I think in the Big 12, though, as long as you keep improving your offense, you have a chance. So if you're going to try and improve,
it's been like that for forever. Yeah.
Look at Mike with the promo. Everyone give this episode a thumbs up. No, we give all you guys a thumbs up. So we appreciate everybody who's commenting. If I missed any, I apologize. Except if you were insulting basketball players on a football episode. But other than that, I apologize. So we had about 10 minutes.
LeBron disrespect will be tolerated.
Yes. So Mike has had to go through the questions of death.
Oh, yeah.
So we decided for this show, we were only going to put Mr. U through the ringer.
Oh, thank God. Mike can now go sit down and enjoy this one.
The sleeves are getting rolled up. Do you need a shot or anything before we go? Oh, he said he's good. So, Rodg,
game face is on.
Shot of water.
Which one are you going with, Rodg? You want me first or you first?
I'll start off.
Okay, bring it on.
All right, so we're going to do an episode of Work, Play, Live. I'm going to give you 3 names. You got to tell me who you would rather work with, who you would want to be your neighbor or live in your neighborhood, and who you would want to hang out with for like a night. All 3 of these people attended University of Michigan, which is why I'm giving you these 3 names. You ready? All right.
Work.
Tom Brady.
Live with.
Tom Brady, James Earl Jones, and Madonna.
Tom Brady, James Earl Jones, and Madonna.
Madonna, I had to look it up. Madonna attended the University of Michigan for like 2 years, but then she dropped out.
Wow. So I got work,
play,
and what's the last one?
And live.
Live
is your next door neighbor, the person that lives next door to you. No, they don't get to live in your house. We're not trying to get you divorced. We just want you to have a new neighbor.
Thank you. Right. So, work, live, and play, right?
Yes,
correct.
Sir.
All right. I think I play it safe and play with James Earl Jones, work with Madonna, and live near Tom Brady.
Did he just go the safe route?
Yes, he did.
Oh,
yes, he did.
Wait, you say you're going to play with James Earl Jones?
We ain't going to play Scrabble. I'm talking. We just like talking.
No. This is the person you going out with on Friday night. So
you're hanging out with Darth Vader Friday night.
Yeah.
As long as he's paying.
Okay.
As long as he's paying.
I can respect that.
Okay.
Herb.
All right, you ready? Number 2.
Say it one time for me, James.
Trey likes the Scrabble.
All right, come on.
Which, by the way, Mike did not like you playing it safe. By the way, so
yeah.
And that rate
Mike,
is definitely gonna be high for you out there. So, all right, number 2, ready?
I guess I got savings.
An unknown benefactor comes to you and they say, we love your show. We love what you do. Okay. We are ready to take you national. Big time contract, $750K a year for your podcast. Okay. But the format has to change a little bit. Okay. The teams that you have to focus on now, $750K, but you have they get to determine your what your focus is. Okay. So now your podcast will be focused on the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Boston Red Sox, and the New York Jets.
Jets, Jets.
Go. Do you take the deal or not?
Yeah, because Harbaugh will be gone by then.
What are my options?
Yep.
Either you stay where you're at or you take this deal, but you have to change the format of your show.
I'm going to say right where I am, man. No deal. Thank you, sir. No way.
Oh,
and he jumped in when you said no deal.
No deal.
What if they upped it to $1 million? $1 million a year.
Man. Yeah, but then if you don't take that $1 million, you're gonna be sitting around all the time on the weekends thinking, man, all I had to do was take the $1 million. I could talk about these other teams. You don't want to live with regret.
Hey, now listen. When Rodg was offered that to do an Auburn podcast, he turned it down. So don't listen to him.
Yeah, I turned it down. I'm not doing
listen
it.
To him.
Yeah.
I saw that show. So yeah.
All right. So my turn. All right. So we've all seen the games in the snow or in the cold where you see the guys in the stands when they don't have a shirt on and they're trying to be all powerful, blah, blah, blah. And it's freezing outside. Question. If let's just say you get your wish and Michigan plays Alabama for the national championship. And there's a deal that Michigan will start off with a 21-point lead. If you sit in the stands the whole game without your shirt, would you do it?
Yes.
And the game is being played in Michigan, and it's like December 20th. It's freezing outside. Would you do it the whole game? Exactly.
I'm from New York, but the answer's no.
He said they better come correct on their own.
Yeah.
They'll need to see all this.
Well, by the way, creative control is a hell of a drug. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And yes, that is
like
exactly like me having to talk about Auburn. Yep. I would have to turn that one down to see. All right, so this one's a little easier for you. Okay. If you had to drop Michigan, I want two teams that you could see yourself following. One in the Big Ten and one outside of the Big Ten.
Oh, well, you already know.
If you pick Alabama, we will send you merchandise.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Off Etsy.
You guys went on that question too. I didn't hear the whole thing. So I got to pick a team outside of Big Ten.
No. So if you had to drop Michigan and follow another team, I want you to pick one team inside the Big Ten that you think you could follow and one team outside of the Big Ten.
Oh,
and Randy's was Wyoming, so I'm going to give you a cheat go. There was Randy's picked Wyoming. If you had to drop Georgia. Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. That's a tough one.
Let me adjust my hat. Excuse
me.
Wow. That's a tough one. I guess I'll go with the Big Ten as currently constituted, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I would go with Penn State.
Okay.
Just be closer back to home, back to New York. Outside of the 10. Wow. This
excuse me.
Say this part.
Okay.
I'm down here in SC. I would say the Gamecocks.
Okay.
I can respect that.
We can't hate on that one. Yeah, can't hate on that one.
I'm hating on you. Hey, I had to answer something. Can I change that?
You know, Spencer Rattler came from Oklahoma, so you're always welcome to the wagon.
Yeah, your first time. It's your first time. You can change it. We'll give you one changey.
All right.
You know, Brent.
I would rather root for.
Really?
Florida State.
That's Florida.
No, Randy threw out them dogs for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about them.
Yep. And the Ohio State fan obviously hates the.
Ain't no way in the world.
The Nittany Kittens.
Lady out.
I've never heard that one.
Lady Alpha, you're the best.
All right, Raj, you got number 5?
No, that was it. I only had 2 for today. I was taking it easy.
Okay, well, I have question number 5 then.
I think we have question number 5.
Yes. All right.
Go ahead.
Mr. U. Yes, we always get 5 the first time you're on here. Who is your favorite? Herb or Raj?
Oh no. I'd rather die
than have to pick one.
Oh.
No, I'm not doing that. I love both of you equally.
Oh
yeah, blah blah.
So in the history of that show, of the history of that question, I am 0, 2, and 1,000. So only 2 people have answered the question. They both have picked Rodg.
Well, what do you guys?
Randy
text me every day. Okay, what do you guys text me every day? The other guy doesn't talk to me, so.
Oh my gosh.
So it is.
All right, fellas. Thank y'all very much
for
the show. Let's go through the final. Mike, let's start with you. Tell everybody where to find you, what you're up to, and your hat size in case they want to send you merchandise.
Okay.
Or maybe your shoe size.
If you want to send shoes, it is size 14. I prefer Jordans, but I'll take anything you guys send me. No, and then hit me in the DMs on that one. No, follow me on my personal Twitter on undefeated Mike, but follow the show at Air Raid Podcast. Podcast is up and running. We got a lot of guests coming on. Tomorrow night, live show on YouTube, 6:30 p.m. Central in the Flat Podcast is coming on. And join the guys from that podcast as we talk everything college football. And if you want to hit up more, got a lot of guests. So follow me on the Twitter and stay up to date.
Sounds good. Right. Thank you, Mike. Oh, by the way, this was, I guess, in the response to the question that hat made this because Randy picked Rodg. So, Mike, we will always be beholden to you as the first person to invite us on their show and really kind of help us get going.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Thank you for that for sure. Mr. Yu, where can everybody find you? What you got going on? Where can they come show some Michigan love?
Sorry, you broke up again on me, man. Repeat that.
Where can everybody find you? Just give yourself a little promo here. Where can they find you? Where they can show you some Michigan love?
You can find me on the Twitter at They Call Me Mr. U, MRYU. And of course, the podcast is on YouTube. They Call Me Mr. U, MISTAYU. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well, but YouTube and Twitter is what we're really doing. So
yeah,
you can find us there. And the show is live on Mondays at 9 a.m. EST. And we got shows throughout the course of the week as well.
Yep. And there are going to be some collabs, I believe, between the rest of these groups in here too. So definitely be looking out for those. Like I said, you guys are two the best guys I've known and had the pleasure of working with since we've started doing this. So definitely appreciate you guys. Yeah. even though I had to bribe you both to keep you on the show, it was money. But, well, you'll have to talk to if you didn't get it, you'll have to talk to your team. So Trina, so thank you, appreciate that. We had a lot of fun here, and then
we did. It was a great show.
So what's up, boys? So all right, for the Herb and Rodg podcast, kind of. We appreciate everybody listening in live, or if you're catching this on the replay. Thank you again to Mike. Thank you again to Mr. Yu. Appreciate you guys. We definitely have to do this again. For Herb and Rodg podcast, have a wonderful night. Thank you for looking at our preview. But as always, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.
Boomer Sooner.
LeBron sucks.